At the KSMO studios at 1348:33 is our time, and it's time for our Mayor's Moments, and we have Mayor Brad Nash with us on a Tuesday morning. A little foggy out there. Where did that all come from?
A little foggy. It's starting to burn off.
Yeah.
I walked through the kitchen this morning. We've got a window above our kitchen sink, and I just kind of walked by and glanced out, and I'm like, is it pouring down rain or is it foggy? And unfortunately, it's just foggy. So
It came out of nowhere because
Yeah.
it was clear this morning. I mean, beautiful morning, and then all of a sudden, I look out there and I said, man, that looks foggy.
and it was.
But we have no report of fog on the National Weather Service. Imagine that.
Well, it happens every once in a while, I guess.
It's just a low cloud. That's all it is. Anyway, but we appreciate Mayor Nash making it in this morning after our Board of Aldermen meeting last night, and a lot of stuff happening right now. First off, congratulations on getting Mark Nash as public director. We have been a while since we've seen each other, like
It
3
has.
weeks now. So
Yeah.
anyway, Mark Nash from Intercounty is now the public works director. So congratulations on that. That's going to help things out drastically in town.
It really is, and we're really excited to get this position filled and to get Mark on board. And, he's going to be helping with or in charge of several of our departments, and is going to be helping get some scheduling and that type of thing done. Already he's been here for a week and a half. Has already gotten several things done. We instead of letting him get his feet wet, we just threw him right in the deep end.
Went over his head right away.
Yeah. So
you did throw him a life preserver, but
yeah,
that little noodle wasn't much.
yeah, exactly. But Mark's doing a really good job, and like I said, I'm really excited that we got that position filled.
Right, and also. The city announced last week you found an economic development director. I know we had talked about this earlier. This person coming from New Mexico, right?
New Mexico, yes.
Coming back to their area they grew up in, and so and that's exciting news.
Yes, it is. Sally Burbridge is going to be our new economic development director. She's from Aztec, New Mexico. She grew up in Bunker. And her senior year in school, she ended up moving to New Mexico with family. She has a great background. She's actually been a mayor in their city for 10 years. She's been on their city council for a couple of years as a councilman. During that time, from what I understand, their community was about the size of ours, but they really didn't have the money to pay for an economic development director. And so she stepped up in that position and has just done a fantastic job. Has gotten several awards for some of her accomplishments and everything. And so it's looking like the first part of November she's going to be here, and really excited to get her here and get her going as well.
It's amazing. You got to find the right fit.
Yes.
A lot of people say, well, it's easy to go find somebody. Just throw money at them. Well, no. You can throw money at people, but Brad, if they don't fit, if they don't understand this community, and they don't understand this area, that's not going to work. And I think people have a misconception of economic development. I mean, it has to obviously, you're looking for more jobs. We all are, right? But at the same time, it's got to be something that actually fits in this community. There's a lot of different things that Salem needs. We all know that sometimes we can't buy what we need here because it's not available here. Maybe we can get those businesses to move in. Maybe we can get more lodging moving in. Maybe we can then, when you start to do all that, all of a sudden maybe other people be interested in moving those factories here that people say, well, we need these jobs. No factory is going to come here if you don't have what they need to move here.
Exactly. And, like you said, and I think you hit the nail on the head, it's got to be an exact fit. You can't, from what we have been seeing through this interview process, to pull a developer out of the city. They may be a successful developer in the city, but, when you move to a rural community like ours, there's a whole
that dynamic changes.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
exactly. And the stuff that we face here, they don't necessarily excuse me, they don't necessarily face those in the city. And so, there's a lot of things that play a part of this, and it's not like, you can throw your hat out there and get 10 applications and find one right off the bat. Unfortunately, in this type of position, it doesn't work that way. So this was a lengthy process to find somebody, but I'm very excited about Sally coming, and she's going to be bringing her family with her as well.
Great.
And we're really looking forward to getting her here.
I look forward to meeting her. And so
Yes.
She sounds like a very enterprising woman. She really wants to
Yes.
get things done, and so
She is.
she looks like a go-getter, and that's what you need.
Yeah, she's very driven, and she's one of those too that you can sit down. Our very first conversation that we had, our first face-to-face conversation, I was thinking 15 minutes, tops, and would be on our way. We sit down, we visited for an hour and a half. She's just one of those people that you can sit down on first meet and feel comfortable and really talk to and communicate well with each other. And like I said, and I know I keep repeating myself, but I'm really excited for her to be here.
When we talk about the perfect fit, and I think a lot of people have to understand, since she had grown up in a bunker area, she knows the area, which really is very, very enterprising. But also, you want somebody who is going to be able to work with what the city already has,
Yes.
which is key. And when you sit down in an interview like that, sometimes that interview is not about what your job qualifications are. Some people say, well, it should be. It is, but it's not just about your job qualifications. Sure. Sometimes it's about your personal. Sometimes it's about what you want. Sometimes they want to feel you out. Sometimes that interview process usually is the employer talking to the employee. Well, sometimes it's the employee talking to the employer, saying, what are you guys doing here? What is this? What do you have planned? Because they don't know.
Yeah.
You got somebody moving from New Mexico. Obviously, if you have a 5 or 10 year plan in place, I'm sure they don't know what you got in mind, how far you've gotten,
Yes.
Any adjustments that have been made to that plan. There's no way they can know. So you sit down and talk to somebody, all of a sudden they're saying, what are you guys doing? So do I fit that mold? And it's really an interesting philosophy. And it was the same way with Public Works Director. You need to find
absolutely.
somebody who understands this area, understands the working conditions in this area. I mean, sometimes you go to these cities and they have such spotless and cleanliness things. I'm thinking, holy cow, do they ever drop grease, anywhere? No. I mean, it's like, well, this is crazy. That's not the case here, because you got to go through some pretty rough areas where, they actually have ticks. My gosh, Brad, and they have poison ivy, and it's not just all concrete, an easy walkway to get to something. So, a lot of changes when you talk rural versus urban, but also the pace of life and what the people down here would accept and not accept.
Exactly.
You can't take them from the lifestyle they live and all of a sudden jack them up and put them, say, okay, we're going to move everybody up here right now. And this is what's going to happen. So it has to develop over time, and I think Sally's going to be a good choice for you.
Yeah.
Coming in. So very good. So anyway, good news on the city front.
Yes.
Very good. And we want to thank, obviously, Mark Nash for getting on board. Mark's a very knowledgeable guy. I think he's going to be a huge asset to the city, and also for Sally. And when she gets here, well, maybe we can get her on the air one morning.
Absolutely.
Have her talk a little bit and get introduced to our listening audience. Very good. All right. Well, we had a meeting last night. We're not just here to talk about
We
people.
did.
We could, I guess, but also, that can get you in a lot of trouble. We're not talking about Supreme Court nominee, are we?
No.
Very good. All right. So
No.
very good. Let's talk about some primary wire. This is an underground wire that's going to be used. This is some of this is going to be reimbursed by a client, but the city needed to get a reel of wire. This is number 2 TRX LPE, which is an underground wire with 2-inch red duct. It's 15 kilovolt, 220 mil, which is a pretty thick line, obviously, if it's underground, and it's a primary wire. So these are some pretty thick wires. You just don't go to your local hardware store and pick that up.
No, unfortunately not. And so we did have to go out for bid to get this roll of it, or a reel is 2,500 feet. and we received 2 bids for this. Bid number 1 was from Fletcher Reinhardt, and that was $2.58 a foot. And the second bid was from Cape Electric, and that price was $2.53 a foot. And so the board elected to go with the cheaper bid of Cape Electric for $2.53.
Was that delivered price? Do you
Yes.
know? Okay. Because I did not see the bid, so I did not know. Okay, very good. All right. Well, that was pretty easy.
That one was easy.
Now we've got the wire. Now it's the rest of it. So back, what was it? I think in the last August meeting, we had the wastewater treatment facility phase 1 improvements, contract A and B, that were postponed at the time. And those were re-examined and re-looked at, and 2 bids for each phase, for each contract, were received, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So the first one's for the fine screen and washing compactor, which is contract A, and the other one is for surface aeration, which somebody didn't really spell right, but that's okay, and contract B. So I'll let you address both if you wish.
We actually received 2 bids for contract A and contract B.
Okay.
Contract A, which, like you said, was the fine screen and washer compactor. That equipment, bid number 1 came in from EnviroCare Company, and that bid was $132,860. The second bid was from JWC Environmental, and that bid was $135,680. So on contract A, the low bid was approved. And then for the contract
To
B...
EnviroCare Company.
Yes.
Yeah.
Contract B, the surface aeration base bid, Aeration Industries International LLC submitted a bid for $89,335, and Aeromax Systems DBA Fluence. Fluence.
What kind of name is Fluence?
I don't know.
It's doing business as Fluence?
Yeah, I'm just reading what it says. But that bid amount was for $111,030, and the bid for contract B was approved for Aeration Industries International LLC for the $89,335. And just to make everything clear, this is equipment that we have to purchase for the wastewater treatment plant for the upgrades that we've been working on. This is part of, if I understand this right, and we were talking about phase 1B and phase 2. From what I understand, this is equipment for the phase 2, but we have to go ahead and order that. We're working on a grant from DNR for $500,000. That's looking pretty positive.
Yeah, for labor.
And that will take care of part of the labor. And so we have to wait until we are for sure selected for that, see what their requirements are, and then we'll go out for bid for the labor for that second section. But this way, this gets the equipment ordered, it gets it here ready to go, so when we get all of that process done, we'll be ready to move on.
Okay, so for those, if you heard Brad say that, this is for the equipment only, these
Yes.
2 bids. So there's no installation. It's just to get the equipment here. The bidding of the labor will be done once the DNR grant is determined, whether we do have it accepted or not.
Yes.
But whether one way or another, it'll have to still be put in. The labor is going
Yes.
to have to be paid for, but just waiting right now to see if that $500,000 can be used to help offset some of that labor cost, which would be huge.
Yes, it would.
You know, we know the city did put out certificates of participation to help pay for this. There's a lot of money out there to do this, and of course, I had a conversation with some other people, other cities that have had the same thing. They're running into the same problems. You know, it's a lot of money.
It is.
And there was nothing wrong with our previous water treatment system.
Uh-huh.
It's just DNR had to make some adjustments because the EPA made adjustments.
Sure.
And so all of a sudden, small cities, this isn't as big a deal in the larger communities.
Uh-huh.
It is in the small towns because
Absolutely.
these kind of dollars just can't be regenerated that quickly.
Absolutely.
So anyway, a lot of stuff going on. And I know people say, well, I don't see anything happening. I don't know a lot of people that go to wastewater treatment plant and hang around.
No.
But you would have seen things that have happened down there already.
Absolutely. We don't get a whole lot of requests for tours for our sewer treatment facility. I guess if somebody wanted
Especially
one,
in the summer.
yeah, if somebody wanted one, I assume we could make that happen. But there is a lot of stuff going on down there. They have gotten in the ultraviolet equipment, and so we're moving forward with that. And this is just going to be a long process to get all of this accomplished.
A long process.
Yeah.
It was a 3-year, 5-year, 3. You remember?
I
Well,
believe
we already
it's-
been in it a year, so
Yeah, I believe it's 3,
Okay.
but that's off the top of my head. I could be
I
wrong.
can't remember either. I remember looking at this thing and just shaking my head.
Yeah.
And it doesn't affect me personally, but it does affect all of us. And we know that these rates that we've had to pay, the increase, this is what you're paying for.
Uh-huh.
Because it's not something the city wants to do. It's something the city is being forced to do.
That is correct.
So it's not a question of, gosh, we don't want to do it. Well, then they just turn the spigot off and you have no water.
Uh-huh.
And it just, uh-oh.
Yeah.
We don't know. All right, very good. The consent agenda was approved. Some fairly nice sales tax numbers coming in that were received in the month of August.
That is correct. We received for our Missouri Department of Revenue sales tax $109,000. Our capital improvement sales tax was $54,000. Park sales tax was $40,000. Our cart tax $16,000. So we had some really good numbers come in.
We're good. So keep up the good work. Keep buying local. That's
Absolutely.
What help makes that those numbers tick, and we hope that people do, if at all possible, buy your stuff right here in town.
Yes.
It's possible.
Uh-huh.
All right, there was some unfinished business at the previous meeting. There was some discussion about a Kubota tractor and also a Bobcat. When I say tractor, I should say a little bit more than that. It's like a backhoe.
Uh-huh.
And these are for the cemetery to where which one would be the best. Well, nobody really had used either.
Uh-huh.
The ones the models they were talking about. So that actually was done.
Yes.
And then they realized that maybe they could actually do something a little bit different because they wanted to add a 3-foot grave bucket
Uh-huh.
to make it just one scoop.
Yes.
And get the sides already done. Also the 2-foot bucket, and then also a frost attachment. It does get cold in the winter. And this
Unfortunately, yes.
And it's harder to dig, so this frost attachment is supposedly going to cut into that earth a little different.
Uh-huh. And so this is for a mini excavator, and the issue that we're having, we do have a standard backhoe at the cemetery now, but it is really old. It's got a lot of oil leaks and that type of thing, and so when we had looked at replacing that, it really didn't make sense for us to purchase a new backhoe. As you can imagine, trying to get a full-size backhoe around the stones and that type of thing in the cemetery is pretty difficult
Good
at
chance
times.
for damage.
Yeah, and so there's times that we would have to remove a couple of stones just to get into one area to dig, and so with this mini excavator, it'll help us to be able to maneuver a lot easier in the cemetery. Hopefully, create a little less damage as they're having to go through there, and I think it'll just make it'll make a lot more sense than having a full-size backhoe in that department. So the bid last night was approved for Wade's equipment for a Kubota, and that price on that was $48,945.60, which was a budgeted item.
Very good. And that was, again, that discussion. Now, that did go up over the last bid simply because they did add some different things. They added that 3-foot bucket, and so they kind of had to bidding to it. So
Yes.
anyway, but Public Works Director Mark Nash helped with this. It was, I guess, one of his first tasks.
Yes.
And they really did a good job. And of course, I think a lot of his intercounty came in there with some of that stuff. And why not get a bucket that actually digs the whole size you need? But also and does it safely. And that
Sure.
was one of his big things too, because he worked about and talked a little bit about the depth of the scoop, and they got the extra long arm, and then the depth of the scoop. Not as long as the Bobcat, but the Bobcat was unable to stay stable. If you extended the arms out, even though it would go a little bit deeper, but if you had a full bucket, it would kind of teeter.
Yes.
That's not a good thing.
No, not when you're sitting over the top of a hole.
No, and the Kubota had a longer base with the tracks underneath as well.
Yes.
So made it a little bit more stable. So again, yes, Wade's equipment, 48,945.60.
That is correct.
Very good. Okay. Park and Recreation Director Ty Lyden was up to give his report for the summer activities at the park, and we know the park was a busy place this summer, Brad, but the Aldermen never know how it does. We've got summer programs. We've got baseball and softball and t-ball. You've got the swimming pool open. You've got this year they had a summer camp for kids. We've got pavilions that are rented. So it came at the end of the summer that the park board decided we need to let the aldermen know what the investments that we put into the park now, are they actually paying off? Because, oops. Well, you really need to know. I mean, are you getting the return on the money that you thought?
Sure, absolutely. And I tell you, it was really eye-opening, and I appreciate the park board and Mr. Lyden for all their hard work that they've done over the summer and getting these programs going and seeing the numbers, it's really paying off. And, some of the numbers that Ty gave us, and feel free to elaborate as you may. You're a little more familiar with these numbers than I am, but, for our total pool costs, normally we lose big time money on our pool. It's just one of those things that it doesn't matter what community you're in. It
can be a money pit.
It can be a money pit. But for our expenses, by the time you figured out our revenues that we made, our expenses, and included in the splash pad, our concession stand, and all that, we actually made, from Ty's numbers that he gave us last night, actually made a profit of $712.33.
That doesn't sound like much.
It doesn't, but I tell you, I've never...
That beats the heck out of a loss.
Well, and, normally we were having, with our other pool that we had, it was pretty common to lose $10,000 a year or more. And so to see something like this and a positive, I don't know, and I haven't searched records, but from the length of time that I've been involved, I don't know that we've ever been on the positive side at the end of any pool season. Now, that being said, when the pool was first built, I don't know what the...
Right, 89, 90,
I don't know what the costs were there, but, at least in the last 10 years that I'm aware of, we've never turned a profit on that.
Well, in the last 20-something years, I know there's never been a profit on the pool. But, one of the things to look at, and just to help explain a little bit of this, and I know Ty kind of summarized it, but just the water costs. The pool had to be filled one time.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, when we had the leak in the pool, we spent over $2,000 trying to fill the pool.
Yes.
$2,000 in water. A lot of it was running out as we were filling it. We didn't even know until we just saw it stop filling, and then it's too late.
Yeah.
It's all gone. So we filled it once. We did have water added to it on a 2-inch line that we had monitored, and so we were able to cut the water costs down. They redid some of the chlorination system when we redid the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, We didn't have a chlorinator running 24/7. It only came on when needed be.
Huh.
The water came on when needed be because it was all controlled. And the pumps, even though we had to add an additional pump, the electric did not go up significantly on that. So we were all very happy. We didn't know. We had no idea
Sure.
what it would be. The pool maintenance and supplies, basically it's all chlorine for that. We do have a few other muriatic acids and things of that nature, but only 6,000 of that. 5,000 plus is the chlorine, and we have now chlorine to start next year. So
Yeah.
that'll even save a little bit there. And the payroll for the lifeguards and the concessions, Brad, it's at 43,000. But when we first opened the pool, to be honest with you, the park board had no idea how many lifeguards we're going to need.
Sure.
And so we actually overstocked our staff in the first month, and that even cost the pool a little bit more. And then, of course, we added on a couple weeks after school got started to where pool parties were very popular, but during the week we didn't really have much. So there's a little bit extra expense there. But when you really take all that out, knowing that you know as well as I do, and your brother Greg did it for years, he understands this totally, is that we only lost actually from the operations of the pool $4,800. We had a profit at the pool up until basically August 1st. We actually, from the pool operations themselves. Now, grant you, we look at that as the pool passes. Everybody buys them at the beginning of the year. You don't sell many of those in August for about 3 days.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, it would be a nice contribution to the city. But, you know, you don't get any of those. So you're basically operating your pool based upon your previous income.
Sure.
That's what we were doing. But we did have pool parties, and that did add to the bottom line that we're all the way into the Labor Day weekend. So
Well, and you know, another thing that we've got to look at too was the weather.
we had great weather for pool.
Great weather at the beginning of the season. Towards the end of the season, you know, we had the discussion about leaving the pool open longer and all that, but we just didn't have the weather to do that.
Right.
You know, towards the end, we got a couple of cold fronts that come in, and we had several crummy days. You know, towards the end.
High of 73 is not going to make it.
I'm not going to get in the pool if it's 73 degrees unless the pool's heated.
That's pool 73 degrees too.
You know, and so that plays a part in things as well. And so, you know, I think if the weather would have cooperated there at the end, we could have even had better results than what we had.
But we did learn, the park board did learn from that, so we've got
Sure.
a better idea on the grasp of how many people to have to open the pool and to get things done that way. And of course, as you were mentioning about the pool concessions, $11,000 plus in pool concessions this year. Supplies about $4,542, and payroll. We had one person in there for the most part and kept it down. So, as you mentioned, the actual gain from pool operation was $940.
Yes.
But we did have splash pad expenses, and we didn't know where to put them. You're not going to get any income; it's free, you know. So where do you put them? Well, we just called it water sports at the park. We don't know what else to call it.
Sure.
And splash pad, in all honesty, Brad, we just didn't know what that was going to cost.
You know, I was pretty impressed with the numbers that come in. There again, this is a new piece of equipment that we have no idea. You know, we had guesstimates in what it was going to cost, but you know, $144 for water, $36 for electric, and $52 for chemicals. You know, that's pretty cheap, especially for the amount of use that you're getting out of it. You know, especially during the summer, there was people there every day, just about from sun up to sundown in that thing, and so that worked out really well.
Yeah, the nice thing was the water tops itself off automatically in the reservoir there. And once you fill that up, that's good. Now, we will have to eventually drain that for the winter here. But so we know there's just one real filling, and then there's just little shots of it because the water goes back in and gets recirculated back through the pump. So very good. So a great overall, a fantastic year, and $712 plus on the plus side.
That's great.
It is. The pavilion rentals, $2,367. More people are using the pavilions than ever. And booking them ahead of time, which is great.
Absolutely.
And we can't allocate any cost to that. We know electric is being used. We just don't know by the because they're metered differently, and we don't know because they come on anyway at night. So there's some lights that come on all the time.
Sure.
Hard to tell which is which. I think the neat thing that I saw coming up when you kind of turned to see what the softball the t-ball and the baseball bring in during the summer, I don't think people have any idea. That is about an $18,000 program.
Yes.
It's a lot of money being for what, 6.5 to 7 weeks over at the city park, starting in May and getting right up to July 1st. That's a lot of user fees, and of course sponsorships on the signage on the outfield walls. That helps pay for that program, which is essential to make it work.
That is correct. And, like I said, I contribute a lot of this or all of it, to how hard the park board has really worked and pushed these programs and tie. And, the majority of the comments that I have gotten in the last year, as far as the city is concerned, has been regarding the Parks Department. And how nice everything's looking, the pavilions, and you take a step back and say, okay, a year ago, where were we at? It's pretty daunting, to say the least, of how much progress and everything has been made over in that area. The picnic tables were fixed, all the pavilions were painted, the pool was fixed, the splash pad, the
New benches at the tennis court.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, the transformation, over just the last year, and it's really exciting. And I think that that definitely the numbers show us, that we're moving in a positive direction.
And we're not just sitting still. Ty went out and created a summer camp. And I think a lot of us who are old enough to remember Jackie Alexander, she had a little summer camp out of the park and do crafts and little different things all the time. Well, Ty kind of took it upon himself to do some different things, to where he taught people how to do a Dutch oven. Had canoes there. They had tents. They had different people showing them how to camp and doing some fun things. And so he went way out of his way, had some people from the Salem Area Arts Council out there helping him out. Department of Conservation helped him out. Forest Service helped him out. And that summer program was very successful in the month of June into July.
Yes.
And for $2,492 it brought in, but there's no expenses. That meal that came with that program was a grant.
That's wonderful. And there was so many neat activities that they were able to do, and like you had mentioned a few of them, a couple that stick out in my mind that I really wanted to go over there and be a part of, and I just couldn't get over there. But the kayaking in the pool, and teaching the kids how to fly fish in the pool, and making use of the resources that we already have, and teaching these kids skills that they can use for the rest of their life. That's great. That's really exciting.
Hands-on skills.
Yes.
Instead of just using an app. There's nothing wrong with having an app, but you don't get that hands-on, you don't get that feel. So a lot of good things coming out of the park. The ball program netted out about $16,000, and then the summer camp, obviously, it was all profit. And then, of course, you add that all up, it's about $21,000 in a gain from direct park activities. Now, somebody's going to say, well, heck, they should cut back on fees. Hate to tell you, and I'm not being the bearer of bad news. I'm just being the bearer of honest and truthful news. Okay? The city's still on the hook, the park board is, for $107,000 a year for the pool.
Absolutely.
It's going to be for a while. Okay, so that's not taken into consideration. Also, Ty's salary and Don Smith's salary for constant maintenance, and the other park employees are not being taken into consideration. These were direct costs of the programs that are offered.
Yes.
We're not talking about ground maintenance. We're not talking about field maintenance. We're not talking about that stuff. We're just talking about what that pool costs to be open, and the lifeguards, concessions, the actual cost for that pool to be open. And I think what we did see here is that's a nice number. I'd like to double it. That would be nice.
Well, and
it'll be a lot more money. But what I'm trying to say is, this does show our park is being utilized extensively.
Absolutely. And if to be honest, if we can, this money allows us to be able to do more things in the park. More improvements, more, it's just it just allows us to do more things to make our facilities better.
Exactly. And we've had a lot of help at that
Uh-huh.
Salem City Park. SACPA donated a sign. We have some trees that are going to be added once we get the TAP grant done over there. So, far from being done, and plus we're going to have trees, and we're going to start moving things out to the Al Brown Field to start getting that location up to date. Park Board's got a lot of different things going on, including some lighting in all our city parks.
Sure.
Because people say, well, we only have one. No, we have 5.
Uh-huh.
And some of them are very dark at night.
Yes, they are.
So we're working on all that stuff. So try and make it better for everybody. But again, outstanding report on summer activities.
Yes.
And a good job by all the employees. Got to thank all the lifeguards and people who made it happen. Did a great job.
Absolutely.
So, very good. But now the aldermen have an idea what's going on at your park
Yes.
and your park programs. Very good. All right, let's move forward, man. Tell you what, we've got the Public Works Director report, which I don't know if Mark didn't know that he had to do.
I told you we threw him in the deep end.
Oh, I'm telling you what, somebody must have turned on the big old suction down there, too. Just pulled them right down. But nonetheless, anyway, he did give a kind of a just real quick summary of what he's been doing over the last week and a half. And, there's a lot of things that we all know that he wants to get done.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure that he would like to have them done yesterday.
Oh, absolutely.
It takes a while. But cleaning up the property is one of his priorities. He's working on getting that done. But then having to put together a maintenance schedule to keep it clean. It's not just getting it clean now.
Yeah.
It's got to stay that way.
That's correct. And, it's unfortunately we this summer we had so much stuff going on that we were really focused on getting those projects and stuff taken care of and moving forward in those areas. And just to be honest with you, we let a couple areas slip. And those were, some of our warehouses that we've got or different departments. There was a few weeds that were starting to grow up around and that type of thing. And so Mark's really stepped up, and we've had visits between Mark and Ray and myself, and he's gotten in and gotten those areas cleaned back up for the most part. We still have a couple other little areas that we need to get knocked out, but getting those taken care of, and then like you said, Mark's going to try to get that on a schedule where we can make sure that we're getting that taken care of where it doesn't happen anymore.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And then follow through with that. Very good. All right, and so we look forward to hearing more about what he has in mind. All right, also, City Administrator's Report, Mr. Walden talked a little bit about the Missouri Municipal League Conference that was held in the month of September, which is one of the reasons why we only had one alderman meeting that month. A lot of things going on in September, there's no doubt about
Yes.
that. But both he and Clerk Mary Happel attended. They did not attend the same session so that they could get more out of that conference as possible. And they always bring back a wealth of information. And I always say it's updated information because it's the latest on certain things. It may not be all new information, but maybe an update on some of that information.
Sure, and a lot of things with the city, rules and regulations change every day. And I appreciate these conferences that the Missouri Municipal League put on that we can attend, and it just allows us an opportunity to go sit down with other cities and other communities and make sure that we are in the position that we need to be, that we're familiar with some upcoming laws and stuff that's going to be going through, so we can keep updated on that. So it's a great conference. I've been there. Good conference to attend. They usually put out a lot of good information, and like I said, other cities and communities are there, and it's also nice to just be able to sit down with them, listen to some of the issues that they've got, and
It's not so bad here.
no, and we can kind of give them some issues that we've got and bounce ideas off each other and that type of thing. It's very worthwhile in going.
That really, and I think what you're hitting it right on the head there, Brad. Not only is it an educational and updating process, but it also is one where you can get a little self-reflection on where you kind of stand with other communities that are going through some of the same processes that we are.
Absolutely, and a lot of this stuff, there's no sense in reinventing the wheel. And I try to do this, when we've got some different issues and stuff going on, but I talk to other communities, and hey, I know you guys went through this. What'd do? Where, and not that we necessarily have to follow exactly what they did, but it gives us an opportunity to say, okay, this community's been through this. This is the positives they got out of it. This is the negatives. What can we do to take the positive parts out of this and build it to where you have less negatives? And it gives you that opportunity to do that.
You can waste a lot of time by, obviously, and money when you first go into a project, because if you don't really have a plan, you can waste a lot of money, waste a lot of time. You start on something that you think this is the proper direction, and find out it's not the proper direction. That education, that cost, and maybe another community went through could save us hundreds and thousands, maybe even millions of dollars in the long run by averting the same mistakes that they already made.
Yeah.
By simply talking to them and saying, guys, what did you learn from this? And they'll say, well, we learned not to dig that or do that. We learned that, hey, you should do this over here on your existing stuff so that you don't have to pay for it twice.
Yeah.
Well, ding, there goes the little light, little light bulb saying, man, am I glad we didn't start digging all that stuff, because, we might have been in the same boat they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it just makes sense. And like I said, we don't go into it to say, well, okay, we've got to follow exactly what whoever, Rolla or whoever is doing. But it helps us get an idea of the direction that we need to go.
I think at the MML's conference, that's how we found in situ form. Because somebody had used it, and I remember them coming back and not knowing, nobody knew anything about it.
Yeah.
And instead of digging up old sewer lines and things of that nature, you could use these people in areas that you really couldn't go in there and dig those pipes up.
Sure.
Excuse me, without actually rerouting the whole sewer line, because it's private property, or maybe it's protected property. You just can't do it. But they did it back in the 20s or 30s. Can't do it now. But the pipe is there. It's just kind of got some maybe weeds or something in it, or tree limbs or roots or whatever, or maybe there's a crack in the pipe. Hey, the stuff lines it. You can do it, and you can take all that other stuff out of there and open your line back up to prevent more clogs and backups. And so a lot of good stuff can come out of these conferences, and we all know that it usually does. And so we tip our cap to that, and that's why these conferences are very important, and the city tries to always attend them to make sure to get something out of it. Another meeting that's coming up is a Public Utility Alliance meeting. This is where we get our electric from, in case people don't know. And Ray and Brian are going to be going to that.
Yes, so they'll be out of pocket for. I know they're leaving Wednesday. I think it's a day or two. That they're going to be out for this committee meeting, and there again, sometimes these conferences can be pretty rough. They get monotonous, but the ones that we try to attend are very beneficial. And this is going to be another one that I'm really excited for them to go to and see what kind of information that they bring back for us.
Don't really know where we're going with the energy right now, do we?
No.
I mean, we don't know. I can't tell you. You hear all kinds of things, and you hope get a better report from the people who are doing it every single day.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. It's going to be Columbus Day next Monday.
It is. So the offices will be closed. So if you go and try to pay your utility bill, you'll have to put it in the night deposit box because the employees won't be there. So any kind of business that you have with the city, you'll not be able to do that on Monday. You'll have to either do it the Friday before or Tuesday.
But Monday's another day of great importance because the citywide cleanup begins on Monday on your
It is.
regular trash day.
Yes, very important, and just so everybody is aware, for the fall season, we only do it for the 1 week. So this next week will be the only week until next spring that we do the cleanup.
1 week. Remember, you can put your old refrigerators out there. You can put that kind of stuff. Old grills. A lot of people come by. If you don't want it, they'll take it. Sometimes they don't take it. The city guys will come and get it. You can still put your brush out there. Now, don't put the brush in the middle of the refrigerators and grills.
Yes, please.
Okay, kind of separate it out. It's a whole different department that comes by and gets that. So you can go ahead and tie that up. So if you've got some down limbs and stuff over the summer, or you want to be doing some work this weekend after you go yard sailing, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and get those trimmed up, put them in it, tie them up. 4-foot bundles is what they really would prefer, about 4-foot length. And don't make it too bulky. These guys got to pick it up and throw it in a truck.
Absolutely.
If you make it too bulky to where it takes 3 men and a horse to get it up there, they're not going to be happy. And then they got to come by with a forklift. And that's really, or a backhoe, not really what they want to do.
No, and it's to be honest, it's not cost effective to do that either. So if you can't pick the bundle up and take it to the curb and carry it to the curb, then it's too heavy.
If you're dragging it,
yeah. If you can pick it up and take it to the curb, then we can most likely get it in the back of a truck. But
there you go.
If you can't, switch them around, make a couple of different bundles out of it, whatever the case may be, to where it's a manageable pile.
Right, and you can also, by the way, take it out to the dumping area out there past the Minister's Industrial Park, out there past Everything Cinema. No processed wood. So if you got treated lumber, anything like that, do not take that out there. Do not take out old furniture that you've broken up. That's varnished wood. You can't burn that stuff. It puts off toxicity.
Yes.
Please don't do that stuff. And unfortunately, Brad, I go out there and I always seem to see 1 or 2 pieces of that out there.
It is. And, we've had issues in the past to where somebody will throw a tire on there, or somebody will take a mattress out there, or an old couch, or whatever. People, that's not designed for that. That is for yard waste, grass clippings only. If you've got an old couch, if you've got something that you need
put the old couch at the curb.
Exactly. But please don't take it out there and put it on that pile.
Right. Now, the tires, that's a whole different story. You can't put out tires. No petroleum products. That's oil, transmission fluid, anything like that. Paint. Can't put paint out there as well. Especially where there's paint in it. Now, if you got empty cans, you can just throw them away. But no paint allowed. You have to take that over to Roller Recycling if you want to get rid of the paint that's in those cans. And then also, too, don't forget, and a lot of people do forget if they still put batteries out there. And we're talking about any kind of batteries. You really don't want to put any batteries out there, but especially your car batteries or tractor batteries. Can't take them either. They've got acid in them. So can't take those. So don't put those items out there because, you know what? They're going to be left there, and you're going to have to pull them back in and try and find a place to put them again. Okay? So they just can't take those. That's not something they can do. Some places you get your tires redone, many tire shops, you can pay them the $2 or $3 collection fee that they have to pay anyway when they take off tires, and they'll take it for you. Otherwise, you wait for one of the collections like we've had in Salem before. I think they have one coming up this weekend up in Vichy, coming up on Saturday as well. So you can take it up there and get rid of it. You have to pay to get that tire taken care of, but depending upon what kind of tire it is, passenger tire I think is $2, truck tires $5, and a tractor tire is like $30. So it's a big old tractor tire.
Yeah.
You got to put that in the back of your truck. That sucker up there. Anyway, keep that in mind. And, of course, Saturday is a citywide yard sale.
It is. Very exciting. I've already seen a couple of places around that's getting prepared getting their stuff out, and we always enjoy citywide yard sale. Brings a lot of people from outside the community, inside our community, and looking forward to that.
Right. Now remember, there are spaces at the city administrative building parking lot at 4th and Iron. It's right behind the administrative building.
Uh-huh.
You can reserve those spaces, $8 a space. Call Karen, and you can get more than one space. Some people have reserved as many as 4. That's okay. It's on a first come, first served basis. So when they run out, though, they run out. That's it. There are no
Yes.
more. So if you want to reserve spaces there, go ahead and get in touch with Karen, 729-4811, and she will help you out there and reserve your space. Again, it's $8 per space. So if you want 4, it's going to be $32.
Yes.
It doesn't go down. Mass quantities don't give you a discount. Sorry about that. Now, the other thing that we need to qualify that with Brad, and I know some people have not always done this, is that you don't go on somebody else's property and have a yard sale without their permission.
That is correct.
Or commercial lots either.
Yes, you have to have permission to be on that lot, and make sure you do. If you set up there and the property owner asks you to leave, and you don't have permission, guess what? You gotta pack up all your stuff and you have to get off of the property. So don't make it be an issue.
And they could be cited for trespassing if they don't.
Yeah. So please don't make it be an issue. Ask for permission before you do something like that, and then everything will be okay.
Very good. Okay, great. Oh, Florida citywide should be pretty good weather that morning. Start talking about some showers coming in that afternoon.
Go early.
Go early. Go early. Buy early and often.
Yes,
right?
that's right.
There you go. That's some people's philosophy, isn't it? They get out there, I'll take all this. All right, very good. Anyway, check that out. The old middle school, Ray said there's a follow-up meeting coming up on that to kind of determine what's going to actually happen with it. We need to make a final decision. I think that's what they're getting to here.
Yes, and they're kind of looking at what process to recommend to the board. From what I understand, all the engineering reports, all that is finished, so they'll finish up reviewing those and kind of give a direction or an idea to the board of a direction that they feel we should go. So, looking forward to that.
That should be at the next meeting.
Yes.
Hopefully we have that. Okay, you had nothing on your report.
Nope.
And let's move forward to Bill number 3401, which clarifies Bill number 3390, which when they went and actually checked the description that was provided, oops, had a little piece of Al Brown that wasn't accounted for.
Yeah, there was when we had done the previous ordinance to annex Al Brown property back into the city limits, there was one little section that was missed, and so basically this ordinance takes care of that to make sure all that property's in there. So nothing major, just cleaning up an ordinance.
All right, very good. Board went into closed session. Any votes?
No, sir.
No votes. You weren't there very long, I know that.
No, wasn't there long. Didn't
Wasn't there
take
very
just a
long.
minute. So.
All right, very good. And that was the Board of Aldermen meeting from Monday, and that was October the 1st. Anyway, we always thank Brad for coming in.
Thanks for
This
having
is
me.
not paid for by city funds or taxpayer dollars. It's paid for by Brad out of his pocket to give you more information about what's going on, and we appreciate Brad spending the time coming in and making time in his schedule to give you that information right here on KSMO Radio. We're very, very appreciative of that. And, of course, get a chance to maybe expand a little bit on some of the information that
Sure.
people don't get a chance to hear very often, and be interesting. And maybe we can get Mark Nash in here, and also Sally when she gets here, and just maybe one of the times to come in, just introduce themselves a little bit to our listeners and let people know that they're around.
Absolutely, we can definitely get that done.
Very good.
I actually thought about that last night when I couldn't go to sleep. It was about 11:30, and but then I figured it was too late to spring that on him. So
All nervous about coming in this morning.
yeah.
I'm sure that's why you were up. Sounded good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounded good. Anyway, well, again, we thank you for coming in and spending that
Thanks for
time
having
with
me.
us. And we try and do this after, usually the Tuesday after every board of Alderman meeting. There are occasions where we have to kind of bump it because of intercounty or something, or Brad's schedule, because he
Sure.
does have a few things, or fires. Where they come in. But,
Yeah, I need to plan that a little bit better.
yeah. Hopefully we don't have any. That'd be nice. But nonetheless, we do thank you again for coming in, spending some time with us right here on KSMO Radio 1340, your hometown radio station. We invite you to stay right here. We are going to come right back and have our Bass Pro Outdoor program and then civic happenings in just a moment.
When Missourians look out for one another, we all see the net benefit.
I work at the food bank.